test some skis, I'd get all the skis ready and just simply start putting on our binder. So I would do everyone's skis, and it's really simple. It goes on. It's in the air, it's in a spray form, and then as it cools, it morphs into a clister type substance where you will touch it, and I call it the spider web test. You'll see this just come up. It's warm in here, so I don't know if it'll set up, but this is as simple as it is.
It's tacky.
It will get tacky, yeah.
And do you scuff that up before you put it on?
I don't always do that because this stuff works so well.
Okay.
But
Sounds
yeah,
like an old
you
school
can.
thing from using the 20 to stuff it to make it stick.
You can. I'm just shutting this off. You can scuff it up, and it will only help. But again, I've been spoiled in that this works so well that I just skip over it. It just doesn't even need it. Yeah, we've had a lot. We raced on this a lot this year, and it's awesome. So ordinarily, I would have a tube. If I were using the old school way, I would have a tube that I would be torching. Heating the tube with torch, keeping it in my person, and keeping it warm, and then trying to smooth it out if I didn't have power somehow. And it's a very long step, and it's a very tedious step, and it eats so much of the camber height, and that's the most important thing. And this is the type of product where you just spray it right through, and then while it's still in that liquid state, I just take my finger and clean it out. Just run it right down there, and then you're good to go. What's nice about this product is you can, if your ski was sanded, it's more porous. If it took everything and it looked a little dry to you, or maybe you were concerned, it's, again, so easy to work with. You could just go back and just hit a section, and not have to do anything else. So that's it. It's all there is to it. It's that simple. And people can't believe how fast it is, and like, you just did binder, and I could do 10 pairs of skis getting the binder ready. I still have to clister them, but I can do the binder. I can do 10 pairs of skis in a minute. If they're already taped up, I don't even need to put them in a form. I could do it just literally on the fly. If the athletes have them taped up just like this, they don't even need to get on the bench. And I can have them all leaning wherever, getting set up. And then when I'm ready to clister, I can go to it. But the time savings, and Ryan's dad's been a coach forever. I mean, this is one of those things where you just save so much time.
It's funny, for a lot of people, it's like too easy. They don't trust
Not
it.
enough work.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They think it's for people who don't know how to wax.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the one of two products that every shop, I tell them at the beginning, like all during these pre-seasons, like, I will be talking about these two products religiously because I lean on them so hard. So that's that. So that would just set up for 5 minutes, maybe, out in a normal winter type environment. Yeah, just you're more than welcome to touch it, but I'm just going to pass it around. Coaches don't believe it. They don't believe it goes on that quick, it goes on that smooth, and saves that much time. And what's even crazier, besides it being so easy to use, the real amazing point to that product is how well it works. Ryan and Robin both raced up in Bretton Woods, and we had that exact weather pattern that I talked about. We had rain, followed by extreme cold, followed by perfect race day weather. But my point is, the track in the meadows, there was standing water and that froze, and it was just like hockey skating. And it was a 50K race, 42K, and this stuff doesn't come off. Like, in the most abrasive, and you guys lived it. I mean, Robin loved her skis, and that's yours was there and then some. So
I ended up putting more on because Yeah, because I had heard that there was like standing frozen water, like there's slush they pushed together, and they just plowed out of the field and just like made a track out of it. So I ended up putting more Clister on top of that, thinking it's not gonna last going through straight ice. So, but I didn't lose anything.
Yeah, how long would that last? Just a normal race, or?
I mean, it was, I skied, the whole marathon, and I didn't lose anything.
So like an
So,
application for a race would be like normal, and then.
Yeah, and you redo it for the next.
yeah.
Before you do any clistering, you're doing glide wax first, right?
Yeah.
Glide wax.
Yeah, great question. Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of skipped over that, but no, that's a huge point to make. And a lot of times people will bring a ski over after it's been kickwaxed and ask for help on the glide side. And it doesn't work that way. You're going to be getting your brushes in there. What you're brushing out is going in there. Yeah, so it's just yeah, great.
So when you glide wax, do you glide wax tip to tail, or do you just do outside the?
On the classic skis, I don't want anything in here ever.
Okay.
I want it dry, porous. It's the antithesis of what we all do. But in this one little section, you just want it bone dry. So Clister, it's simple. All the kickwax and Clisters, it's really important. It doesn't matter what Clister I use. I just grabbed this universal, but it all goes. What's that?
Can you just show the difference between the two containers for the?
Yeah. The kick is really simple, and again, it gets back to Swix is such an easy system. People sometimes just don't get it. Like they think you got to make it one kickwax from this company or one kickwax from that company. What I tell people is stick with a brand. I wish it were Swix, but I don't care who it is. But just get to know one line and know it well. And if you know one line and you know it really well, you can do everything you need to do. So on race day, I'm not panicking and trying to learn a new system or have a gut feeling for playing a test. Oh, I think this might kick if the sun gets a little higher. I mean, I know what is in the box and how it works and when it runs. Swix is they've just dumbed it down so much and they've tested so much. It's just too easy. So basically you just take snow temperature, and then you guys all know what type of snow is out there. If it's new snow or transformed, we've kind of talked about that. And then basically what they have done, if you've never looked at the back of one of these, it just tells you the snow temperature range and for what snow. And it's that simple. People ask how much do you put on. It depends on how long we're going out skiing. But usually I'll put on 4 to 6 thin layers. It's going to wear off in layers, so if you just put on one thick layer, it's going to come off just like that. So if you just put on some thin layers, your ski will be smoother, it'll run better, and then if it does abrade and come off, it'll come off in layers. So
And that's for both kinds of wax layers?
Well, Clister's a little different. So I'm gonna go back. We talked about binders. So we use a binder for kickwax. We've got two. We've got VG30 and VG35. They both work awesome. I use both of them and trust them. One goes a little colder. The green goes up into a little bit colder range. So if that snow is very sharp crystals, that green does a better job adhering to that base and holding that wax on there. So that's the only difference. And then what we would do is we would use the kickwax of the day. We don't need to necessarily put layers in or mix the kickwax. I don't like to pretend to be that person. The companies do all that, so they've got everything dialed in. So, for example, if it's a mid-winter day, and I know it's average snow temperatures, I know to go to a VR30. If it's a crazy spring day, end of the season, I know I can go up to a VR70. So I don't mix these two. I do use a binder, and then I put the wax of the day, the kick wax of the day on that binder. So I'm not doing anything with these two products. I'm just picking my wax and going. Now what I can do is if the day is changing and it's starting out cold but getting warmer, you know, in my drink belt or my pocket or jacket, you know, I can bring a couple of these in a cork, and then if things really do change or heat up, I can pull off to the side of the trail and just strip that off and reapply if it's gotten so warm. I can also put, I'm gonna back up, the only other time that you can go warmer on a cold wax. You can't go the other way. Does that make sense? So you can go warmer, but it's not by design. We're not trying to do that when we're waxing. It's one of those in the field, or there's just no time and you want to have something warmer, and you can put that over it, but you don't intentionally do that. So on Clister, we talked about the binder here, and then what we do is we typically go with our Clister of the day. So it might be our 30 or 35. That's you know, these two waxes, these two Clisters here were this 30. This is next year's package. This is what we raced on a lot. So it would be this binder with that Clister. That was a very, very popular. And then this is the green binder Clister the really cold binder Clister that I was mentioning earlier. But I like the spray. So this is the 20 in the Clister form that I don't use anymore. It's an awesome product, but it's just too easy out of the spray can. So Clister, we talked earlier about bridging Clister, and I just wanted to call out this product. This is called 35, and it was a new formula for us a couple years ago, and this was also an awesome Clister wax that we raced on this year. So again, it was either the spray with the 30 or the spray with the 35. That was a really good way to go. When you go into the warmer Clisters, I mentioned earlier that there's a bridging Clister. So you've got the 20 spray binder on there, and if we were racing like on a day like today, and we were going with like a 65 or a 75, we'd use the 35 as that bridging Clister. So that's really the only caveat or asterisk you need to remember in Clister is if it does go so warm, we do use that bridging Clister, and a very thin layer of it, So
Over the spray?
over the spray, yeah. So I did the spray, and that's set up.
So once that's...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then I would put a little bit, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna see how we actually apply Clister, because this is the wax that everybody hates because it's messy. And if you know it's messy or sticky and you just get over it, it's really easy to use. When you try and stay clean and worry about things, that's when it's not fun to use. So yeah, so we're gonna put some of that on. So again, really important, during this is to keep it warm, keep the Clister warm. So the night before, make sure the wax box is in the hotel or in the house. So the way I like to, you may have these up on the wall. This is another great little tool that I always, on kick days, I always make sure I have this because sometimes there's no power. This is, you can take a torch and heat it up, and then you can iron in a binder kick wax, or you can iron in a Clister, whatever you want to do. So this is a really handy tool if you don't have access to power. But once you know you have a warm Clister tube, I simply put that Clister on in the chevron type pattern. And the more you work with it, the more consistent you will be in your application. And that's the name of the game on Clister, because you don't want to have it on too thick where all of a sudden your ski starts to drag. So just work with it. And I like to work with my hands, not have a glove on. You get a better feel, and there's also, it's warm, so it'll help push that Clister in. Obviously, if it was really cold out, it wouldn't go on as smooth, and you'd really have to put some pressure. Sometimes it helps to, have a torch and have that little portable torch iron that I just showed you.
No, I've seen some people flash the ski with a blowtorch and spread it.
Yep.
Is that just increasing the durability of the wax? Is it making it adhere better, or is it just,
it's really
easier
just
to work
it's
with?
just helping it. It's just helping it heat up so they can smooth it out and get that in the base. It's not helping it. The binder is what is helping it be durable and stay on the ski. Yeah. And again, when you're using your hand, you can feel it, and then you would just, if you needed to rework it, I tell people it's okay to go back in if you get some in there. You can go in your groove and just rework it. You can also, no matter how many times you do it, you might miss a spot or not have enough on there. It's okay just to hit a little bit there, and again, by using your hand, you've got a better feel for the wax and how it's spreading, and you can just rework that. As Graham pointed out, sometimes throwing a little heat on there, again, you don't want to hurt the base and hold heat anywhere too long, but just to flash it real quick and warm it up so it can spread. And the key is, it's challenging when we are in very cold conditions. The warmer, middle, average, freezing or 20 degree day is pretty easy to work with Clister. It's when it's 0 Fahrenheit, that's when we're up against a lot and things don't want to stay warm.